What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel, man. Today we are finishing our video that we left off on yesterday on the history of New Zealand and South Africa becoming the greatest sports fixture ever. We're about 18 minutes in. We got about 15 minutes left. And if you came back for part 2, might as well just subscribe, bro. You know what I mean?
The now infamous flower bomb test is one of All Black Rugby's most famous days and a moment encapsulated a tour that prompted so much searching within the nation as well as overseas. John Minto, the public face of Hearten, still a protester to this day, later said that the true legacy of the tour wasn't the message it sent to South Africa, but the conversation it started about race within New Zealand, particularly around the treatment of the Maori people against a backdrop of land seizures and oppressive laws. Historian Jock Phillips would later describe those 3 months in 1981 as the moment New Zealand became an independent Pacific nation instead of the Britain of the South Seas it considered itself previously. Apartheid would eventually be repealed piece by piece over the early 90s amid fears of a civil war. Mandela, released in 1990, would be elected the first president of South Africa in 1994,
I feel like I knew that Nelson Mandela was the president of South Africa, but I don't think I had any idea what he did for rugby and the nation of South Africa,
a direct
to be
part,
honest.
alongside then head of state F.W. de Klerk, of negotiations with the IRB to stage the third Rugby World Cup in the newly declared Rainbow Nation. In a now iconic speech 5 years post-hence, looking back at that World Cup, Mandela would discuss how he felt sport had the power to change the world. In his words, sport is more powerful than governments in breaking down racial discrimination, and the 1981 tour and the backlash to it sowed a seed.
You know, it's weird that I don't really get goosebumps a lot while watching videos unless it's like insane crowds or something like that. But I'm not joking. I literally got just a shot of chill down my arms, and I think it's because he gets elected as president and just changes up how people see people of color. And it's really cool, but I feel a little bit embarrassed that I didn't know all of this. And I'm sure it was, mentioned in school with the Nelson Mandela, and what he did to abolish not slavery but all these racial issues. I feel like I should do a little bit of a deeper dive into some of these history videos. If you have any suggestions, just drop them down in the comments below.
In his mind, that became a genuinely critical moment in the history of South Africa as a nation. Before this, however, in 1992, Ellis Park, the same ground where the two teams will do battle this weekend, played stage for a game known simply as the return test. Having not played an official match since 1984, the South African national team started with the big one. The 92 test between New Zealand and South Africa would be the first played in post-apartheid South Africa, the first under the newly established SARU after the merger of the separate unions that governed rugby for black athletes and for whites.
Awesome. I bet that was an
Mandela's
awesome
ANC
game
party publicly
be at.
supported the match and the Springbok team, far from a given, taking into account the history the Springbok badge had and the reputation it built up as a symbol of apartheid and oppression. The game itself was a belter, high-scoring, intense, bruising encounter, eventually edged by 3 points by the All Blacks. A brilliant return that dispelled any fears the Boks might be undercooked after their spell in the wilderness. South Africa would travel to New Zealand for the first time since that 91 tour, a few years later, but with a very different atmosphere in the air. It was a celebration off the field, a chance to witness rugby's most intense
That's a muddy game. Oh my God.
Side, and the chance to welcome back the Springbok side that had been so popular.
Oh, that's a cool haka.
A New Zealand public who'd fallen back in love with the game.
I love that haka, bro.
Now embracing both teams. Spectators including former All Black Bob Burgess, who turned down a place in that 81 squad, attending a rugby match for the first time in more than a decade. On the field, however, it was brutal. Two teams chomping at the bit, or in the case of Springbok prop, Johan LaRue, Sean Fitzpatrick too.
Fitzpatrick is claiming he's been bitten by a South African.
Bitten?
He's not happy at all.
Something's going on in there. A bit of nibbling, a bit of chewing.
The All Blacks won the series 2-0 with one draw, yet the rivalry was restored, and the All Blacks restored to their place as the world.
Yeah, it's a respectful rivalry, but at the same time, bro, it's a rivalry. You're not supposed to love the other team, you know what I mean? It's still a blood sport, you can say,
the best team, without really much doubt, as they headed into the 95 World Cup, South Africa's official welcome back to and from the sporting world. Because this wasn't just a rugby tournament, it was an opportunity inside and out. As Mandela would say in that speech 5 years later, nothing can bring the world together like sport, and this became a plan. Just as the 1906 team had sown seeds of unity, had looked to create one South Africa, a new nation worth loving, protecting and fighting, Mandela had a vision that this side, 89 years later, could be the same, but on an even grander scale. Having
And he
been
was
viewed
right.
as that symbol of oppression and emblem of apartheid, it was only Mandela's judgment that prevented the Springbok logo and traditional green and gold colours from being rejected, rebranded, cast aside in 1994. Fully
Really?
aware of how important this team, its paraphernalia, its logos, its jerseys were to white South Africans, Mandela sought to build a bridge, not brand new land, and bring everyone on board.
That's
into the
awesome.
same
So
place.
instead of like rebranding and like, trying to make South Africa something it's not, he stuck with the roots, same colors, same flag, Springboks and everything,
He would become a public part of the build-up to the World Cup, telling the team during a visit to their training base that the entire nation, regardless of creed or colour, had adopted them as, to quote, our boys, our children, our stars. South Africa entered
That's
the tournament
awesome.
unfancied, an underdog, but scraping past strong Australia and France sides took them all the way to the final, where they would play, wouldn't you know it, the All Blacks, a team who had gone from the best team in the world
Again, bro,
to still
that's
the best team in
insane.
the world, but now we've got Jonah Lomu, a player
Oh, they
who
got
had
Jonah Lomu
redefined
that
the
game.
game, who had changed the rules. Changed
We
what
did a
rugby
reaction
had
on
been, who come
Jonah
from
Lomu,
nowhere
bro.
to
Go
become
check that out.
arguably the most dominant player the game has ever seen in the
Don't
space
worry.
of one.
We will get to a Haka reaction for Jonah Lomu's funeral. Someone told me to wait till November to do it on his birthday, so I think that's the plan. Just because I think it's a little bit more respectful than to just like kind of view and click farm his like funeral in the midst of while all my videos are getting views. So I just don't want that getting taken the wrong way or anything like that. So I'm just gonna save it for November and kind of just do it the respectful way.
1 year, Lomu had run riot, scoring 4 tries in the semi-final, establishing himself as maybe a player on maybe the best form the world has ever seen in the history of this
All of that
game.
while he was
In short,
battling
in a game played on paper, South Africa had no chance.
cancer
Except this
or
wasn't a
something.
game played on paper, but rather in a nation reborn. Playing under a new flag with a new anthem, Mandela's embrace of the team had turned the tides, changed minds. A majority white crowd chanting his name pre-match, and for the first time
That's
in many
awesome.
black South Africans' lives, their president had led them to support the Springboks.
Dude, that's
rather
awesome.
than the
I
All
love
Blacks.
seeing
A
that.
divide that had become
That's awesome.
tradition
That's
in
so
many
cool.
non-white communities, where supporting the All Blacks and Rugby Union was a given. Just what you did because of what the Springbok represented. The point that current Bok player Herschel Yankees grew up supporting New Zealand ahead of South Africa until he was a teenager. The 1995 final was the tightest we'd ever seen and the tightest we'd see again until these two old rivals would meet in the game showpiece match years later. The All Blacks were the best side in the world, but South Africa played with a heart, passion and spirit that made you wonder if Captain Francois Pienaar's infamous line after the match was true. They really have.
Did he intercept
43
that?
million South Africans
He did.
on the pitch. It certainly felt that way in the titanic effort to take the game to extra time, despite the All Blacks pressing the entire way, never giving in and never letting them over the try line, and creating the opportunity for Joel Stransky to nail the incredible late drop goal with mere moments to go. These scenes as Mandela handed over the trophy adorned in full Springbok kit were unheralded.
Did he
As
win
Martin
with a
Meredith
last
wrote in his
minute
biography, Mandela, the
drop
whole
goal?
of South Africa erupted in celebration. Blacks as joyful as whites. Never before had blacks had the cause to show such
I'm
pride
getting
in the
goosebumps,
efforts
bro.
of their white countrymen. It was a moment of national fusion that Mandela had done so much to inspire. Francois Pienaar would later say, the final whistle going was a moment that changed South
Dude,
Africa.
look at them all.
forever.
Oh my, I'm gonna
The country he
cry.
entered when he left the stadium was different to the one from before.
They beat Jonah Lomu?
The pair played a frankly staggering and slightly ridiculous 5 times the following year. New Zealand winning 4, yet creating a series that represented what this fixture has gone on to become ever since.
Yeah, I did see that out of the 104 matches or something they've played, All Blacks have won 63 or 64 or something like that, and a couple draws. So all-time All Blacks lead the series, but you know when you have star players come and go, or maybe some injuries or something like that, sometimes it can lead to a few swings here and there. But I think we're gonna get a great game in 2 days, bro. I cannot wait. I'm
These
so
two
excited.
teams have
My
between
first
them
ever
7
rugby
of the 10
game
World Cups, 20 of the 24 rugby championships,
ever,
and
bro.
one of the pair has occupied the number 1 spot in the world rankings for 985 of the 1,095 weeks weeks they've been in operation. These are the two proudest, boldest, best rugby teams the world has ever given us. And watching the pair play each other is a treat that's never got any less incredible down the years and given us countless thrilling, unbelievable, all-timer fixtures. There's almost too many to count. You might as well have a go. There's the return to Ellis Park in 2000 for the first time since that 95 World Cup final. A high-scoring classic as an incredible start by the Springboks.
It's got me hyped, bro.
Comeback by the Blacks, only for Werner Swanepoel's second score to win the day. There's the fourth test from 1956, a fixture of Kiwi folklore. The All Blacks had never won a series against the Springboks at that point, but a heroic performance by legendary 10 Don Clark and a breakaway try from flanker Peter Jones put that right. There's the 2014 test where Andre Pollard announced himself to the world before winning 2 World Cups, overthrowing an All Black team who might be the best side to ever play the game in spectacular fashion. There's the Ricky January famous winner in the dying minutes to secure their first win in Dunedin in over 50 years. Dan Carter's drop goal from 2015.
Cool. I've heard of Dan Carter before.
Put the All Blacks on course to become the greatest team of all time. The first test of that fated 81 tour as the Boks put pressure aside and produced a famous win, a game that deserves to be remembered in
that 81 game
context. There's the time a struggling Springboks revived themselves to smash the All Blacks in 2004 after a worst ever World Cup. There's Frans Steen's monster winning penalty in 2009, and perhaps my favourite standalone test from the time I've been running this.
Is that in
2018? As the worst ever Springbok side put aside a hideous losing run, which has included a 57-0 loss to their great rival to defeat the best ever All Black side in New Zealand for the first time in a decade, keeping up with them all the way and producing some heroic defence at the end to win it. It was a sliding doors moment that eventually led us to this. The last time these two teams met at the 2023 Rugby World Cup final. A second time they played out this fixture after 95. A match with more tension than a rubber band owned by Alfred Hitchcock. A game where defences couldn't break and tactics ruled all. Won in the end by a fired-up Springbok side, led by the proudest, grandest son of the transformation Mandela put into effect back in 1995, Siya Kolisi. A man who, for me, has risen to become the greatest captain the game has ever seen, producing it once again when it mattered most against the old rival.
That's awesome.
The politics surrounding these games have dominated this video, but the reality is that's created, demanded by the nature of these encounters. This is a rugby match that, in rugby context, matters more than any other match without a finals tag attached. This is a rare thing in sport, a rivalry that endures, remains equal between two teams who inspire each other to greater heights, who always play at the highest possible standards. A fixture that can be played 106 times, including 5 times in a single year, without losing a single drop of what makes it special. This is a fixture that
5 times in a single year. When was that? What?
Inspire greatness, but creates it. A win 6 times, including 5 times in a single year, without losing a single drop of what makes it special. This is a fixture that doesn't just inspire greatness, but creates it. A win in this fixture means more than any other, so is it any surprise that the world latches on? Even in its lightest years, this is a match that stretches the boundaries of it's only a game. An 80-minute chunk that can shift the mood of 2 nations so severely it can define generations, inspire culture, change the world, purely because within the boundaries of rugby, it matters to New Zealand and South Africa that much. The 2 best teams in the world playing out something that becomes so much more. Because the truth is, it's because this is only a game. It can become something so much greater. It's because this is only a game that it takes on so much more. It's because this is only a game that we can forget the rest and connect and come out the other side with an empathy that wasn't previously there. The same colour shirt able to transcend different colour skin. It's because it's only a game that we can see ourselves through a prism, our life magnified by something smaller, yet for that 80 so much greater. It's because it's only a game that when the sticky weed of politics attaches itself, we feel it in a way it's easier to ignore in our day-to-day life. And it's for this reason that the intermingling of sport and politics is not just unavoidable and inevitable, but vital. There's a reason that the UK saw protests in the street and activism on a mass level when the Wolf and cronyism threatened their football teams via the Super League proposals, but very few did the same when the same concept stood rife at the top of the Tory party for 14 years. There's a reason that it took a sports tour for New Zealand to raise the questions of how they treated the Maori people. There's a reason that a ban of playing test matches in rugby union cut through in South Africa. Because In a world, a universe that's so infinite and endless, we can only find who we are through the simple parts that build up our identity as small.
And yeah, that's what I was saying before. Like, I don't like politics in sports, but when it's something that changes the way people look at a certain kind of people, I mean, you know, obviously we need that. You need that. It needs to happen, and I'm very glad it did. Shout out to those All Blacks players and Springbok players stepping down in the 80s and the 90s because they didn't want to play for what they believed was wrong. So
Tiny blocks. When something threatens everything, we blink, overwhelmed. When something threatens the game, we take action. It's in this way the world was only ever going to change, through things that are just a game. Just as art can make you soar or feel seen for the first time, sport gives us the chance to boil the human experience into 80 regularly scheduled chunks.
Tell me about it, bro.
Afternoon. A match day can make...
Tell me about it, bro. Every Sunday at 1 o'clock for 4 hours. I am, especially as a Steeler fan, oh my God, every game comes down to the last second, and it sucks. I hate it, but I love it. But I hate it, but inject it into my vein.
Depression disappear, communities connect, families reunite. It can make us feel like we've never been alone, and given the right match at the right time, in the right context, sport has the power to change the world. Over thousands of years, hundreds of countries, millions of players, and billions of fans, no individual fixture has ever quite shaped history like rugby union's regular clashes between the New Zealand All Blacks and South African Springboks.
That's awesome.
Of such titanic importance.
I'm so glad I got into this, bro. I had no idea.
Drawn up, and yet a game that has always moved us forward, promoted change where it was needed, and created heroes in the moments of dark. These two teams now play each other again this weekend, and the world is just going to
Yes, they do. This video is like 2 years old, but yes, they do this weekend. Bro, I don't even want to go back and watch my first videos about reacting to rugby because I'm just going to look at it and be like, dude, you're so dumb. I'm so sorry you guys had to put up with that. I still don't know a lot of things about rugby and some of the culture and the history behind it, but thank you guys for suggesting awesome videos for me to watch and learn to, and thank you for actually sitting through and watching this whole thing with me. I honestly had no idea how it was going to go whatsoever because I'm not talking and reacting to it. I'm just kind of taking in information. So I just want to say thank you so much for sitting here and chilling with me. I'm doing a test stream tomorrow just to see that everything's working all right, and I hope to see you there. If not, all good, bro. You have a good day. That being said, bro, happy birthday to me, and I hope you all have a great night. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Peace.
Okay, wake up, look out the window, roll one, smoke out the place, so we can take a trip out to Roma, maybe just San Diego. You can bring the luggage, the cases.